Hey everybody, how you doing out there? If you would, from please like, comment, subscribe on the channel. Back here with another review for you. Review I'm doing is Challengers. Stars Zendaya. Uh, I don't really know the other two stars in here. So, because this movie follows three main characters. That is Zendaya, Josh O'Connor, and Mike Face. So now, pretty much, now this is from a director I've never heard of before. I guess he does movies like this where they're kind of like it's about like complex, like erotic, like relationships, and so these three are pretty much caught up in this uh, big love triangle. So Uh, so Zendaya comes across these two guys, played by Josh O'Connor and Mike Faced, and they're all tennis players, and they're so this movie goes through a 13-year span from the time they're graduating high school and everything to actually competing in like and or I wouldn't even say high. Well, is it high school or probably college or something like that? Because they're even a little bit older back then, and then it traces to present time, which is like again, it's a 13-year span. And these three, they're pretty much having this, like I said, this off and on kind of love triangle in a way. So, um, so they both meet Zendaya. She's basically like this big old like she's this big tennis champion. Her name is well known. She's got like all these sponsorships. She's got her face in magazines, posters, and all that stuff. And then they both talk on the beach. They eventually want to get her number. They're like, would you get both of us, your number? Would you come to our place, hang out? And she does, and I'm like, it's so the two guys in here. I mean, it's like a those two. It's almost like a gay bromance in a way. I mean, it pretty much is. Um, no joke. They literally, and I'm not making this up. They have a conversation where one of them where they both laid in separate beds, and one taught the other how to jerk off. Seriously, that's in the movie. So so they, like I said, they have like a gay bromance going on in a way. Uh, and then Zendaya, when she comes into the picture, uh, one the tall one with the dark hair ends up becoming her boyfriend. Um, Situation happens, and she ends up marrying the other one. So, so they, and it basically from there, like I said, it just kind of jumps around a little bit, and what happens is, uh, she something happens to her to where she needs him to keep playing in tennis matches, and so he's like she notices, like she's asked him, she's like, I feel like you're kind of losing your passion a little bit, so I want you to play against your former your ex former friend, who was my ex boyfriend, and the biggest tennis series open match, to kind of gain that confidence back. So that's pretty much the whole premise of it. Now, I didn't really ruin or spoil anything, but yeah, this is pretty much the setup to the premise. And what I do like about this movie is it does. it actually develops every character. You get to know every character. Every character gets developed. I actually even like the dialogue in here too. Like the dialogue, the exchange between characters is pretty good too. You really believe that. What are the characters' names? I might have to pull them up because yeah. So Zendaya plays again a big old tennis champion. Her name is Tashi Duncan. Uh, and you have the one with the I'll replay the trailer. I thought I put this thing on loop. I don't know why it doesn't loop sometimes. It's weird. That's my style, is to loop the trailer in the background. I don't know why it doesn't want to do that. It doesn't want to cooperate. Yeah, so she plays Tashi Duncan again, who's a really big tennis player. Beautiful girl. And Art Donaldson's played by Mike Face. That's the blonde haired guy, and then his best friend Patrick Zweig, who's played by Josh O'Connor, who in contrast to Zendaya getting married to Art in the movie, and Patrick, who broke up, or who is her ex-boyfriend. He basically just goes through life carelessly. He's kind of a loser. All he has really is tennis, and he's just never really won too much of anything. This dude is homeless. He's living out of his car. So, like I said, you get all these characters developed, and they're all talking to each other, and they're all having arguments and conversations. And the thing I like about this movie is all these characters, they have their flaws. They definitely all have their flaws, and they exhibit their flaws. So throughout the movie, and through this 13-year gap, it's pretty much these characters are. You get to see, how they got up to this point. How they were 13 years ago versus how they are, recently. Now, and it is a really interesting watch. Like, there's not really a whole lot in terms of pacing, really. But one thing I will say though is, again, I really what kept me interested in this movie was the character interactions, the way the characters were developed. Again, how the characters are now versus what they were 13 years ago. How their relationships have changed over time. And also, just a tennis player who's, a really good tennis player who is clearly losing his passion, and his wife sees that. So she's like, I need something to help him. And that's where she gets this match set up with her ex-boyfriend, who again was his best friend. Again, like I said, these guys were in a slight like gay bromance in a way. But I really I did like this movie. So like I said, I really got into it because the thing is there's not really a whole lot of story necessarily to it, and I know that may turn off some people. It does move at a really, really slow pace. It is very slow pace. It's actually really subtle. Nothing super crazy happens in this movie. So, this movie is, and the performances are phenomenal. And I've always said this about Zendaya. I always thought Zendaya was an amazing actress. Like I can't remember where she came from exactly, but the movies I've seen her in, she's just really good. She really not. I honestly thought, I mean the two guys that are in the love triangle with her, they're good too. They're very good in this. Especially the guy that plays Patrick. I really did like his character too. But she's just really good in this. just the way she has to contrast between both characters, and I just really enjoy that. Um, this director, Luca, I'm gonna mess his name up. I don't know his last name. Luca Guadagnino. I can tell by that last name he's Italian. Yeah, I looked him up. He's an Italian director. I can just tell by that last name. So, like I said, he's known for doing movies like this. From what I'm reading, I haven't really seen any of his movies, but this one. But I really did enjoy this. Really good acting, really good performances. Now the movie does jump around in time a lot too. So again, this is telling a story between a span of 13 years. Between the time they first met, or between the time, I wouldn't say they first met, between the time Zendaya came into their lives, Tashi, yeah, I think her name's Tashi. Yeah, Tashi Duncan comes into their lives, to up until the point to where Art and Tashi are actually married, have kids, and they're in this they're pretty much famous. You know, their faces on billboards together. They're doing like Aston Martin deals and stuff like that. And and Patrick is just a homeless guy living out of his living out of his car. Going up to like the lady who runs it and is eyeing like her sandwich, because the dude's so hungry. But no, I really did enjoy this, man. Like I said, the like, if anything, like, I just like, again, if you're like a really huge film person, especially, you'll really just admire like how well, like how well acted this movie is, as well as how smooth and how much the dialogue flows. None of it feels forced. Yeah, I think this is a really good movie. I'm going to give this one a high recommend. I do. I mean, I'm going to give it a high recommend because of how much I really liked it. But I think for other people, the flaws will probably be again, the pacing might not be great for them. And the fact that the movie does jump around a lot, like it jumps around between time frames, but even in those time frames, you completely understand these characters. You get where they're coming from, you get their backstory. It's told out of order in a way, but you still do get their backstory, and it tells again how they got from talking about becoming champions, talking about their passion for tennis, to actually making it. And then they kind of realize, like, man, this isn't everything I wanted it to be. This wasn't everything it was cracked up to be. So, yeah, I'm this is a high recommend for me, y'all. Definitely high recommend film. If this movie looked interesting, I would definitely check it out myself. Definitely give it a shot. But yeah, that is my review for Challengers. Yep, Challengers starring Zendaya. So if you like this movie or hate it, just let me know in the comment section what you thought about it. We can definitely talk about it. And I'll see y'all in the next review.